Welcome to SchezzWho, your top spot for politics. As I continue to give you great political content, I'll need you to be a great consumer of SchezzWho. So like this video, share this video, comment on this video, and most assuredly, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We grow because of you. And on to that, which keeps the show going, starting, of course, with The Dissent Agenda, a great new podcast by my good friend Melissa Lucasen and Cody Connor. Their channel is actually what I use for my StreamYard here. So shout out to The Dissent Agenda and subscribe to them as well. If you're needing insurance in Hampton Roads, then you're going to have to hit up Farley Perkins at the Farley Perkins Agency. He can help you on a myriad of insurance needs. Got his contact information right there on the screen for you. If you're looking for a good Southern food-based dinner, then Ellen's Homestyle and Barbecue Express is for you, with a location both here in Portsmouth and from where I'm from, Virginia Beach, across from Regent University. If you're looking for some good dessert here in Portsmouth, then ELG Sweet Boutique is the place for you for confections and shakes, ice cream, very, very tasty stuff. Don't forget my good friend, Mr. Seiko Varner, runs Positive Vibes Incorporated. He'll help you with a lot of money issues if you have here in Hampton Roads. He's also a great entertainer, great at DJ. So if you need DJ help, hit up 757-932-0177 at Positive Vibes Incorporated for Mr. Seiko to help you out. He, Mr. Seiko, also created the Hampton Roads Green Book, a fantastic application for you to download, which helps you find Black-owned businesses in Hampton Roads. I also want to point out the Black Swan podcast. Catch it on Spotify. It's run by my awesome wife, Andrea Dixon Chesvener. So catch up on Spotify for the Black Swan podcast. Now, the most recent SchezzWho interview had on Delegate Sam Rasool out of Roanoke in Virginia's 38th district. We're going elsewhere in Virginia tonight, Virginia's 48th district. We're bringing on Melody Cartwright. And who is Melody Cartwright? She's a native and long-term resident of Martinsville, Virginia. She's a mom, family caregiver, and power of attorney for 3 siblings, now 2 as a younger sister has passed, who were living in poverty. She understands that folks might need services, and she understands what services provide the best improvement. She's from a family of educators and knows the value of a strong public education system. She was a state employee as an art director with the Virginia Museum of Natural History for over 25 years. She's been a MHC Democratic Committee chair, and she's an activist and an advocate. And she's running in a heavily red district against 2 MAGA Republicans. And that's pretty interesting. One is the Republican Party runner, and one is an independent, though both still MAGA. So let's welcome Melody on to SchezzWho. Right now, click the button, bringing her on the show. How are you tonight, Miss Melody?
Good. How are you, Conrad? And thank you for inviting me.
I'm pleasure to have you on. It's great to talk politics with a great interested political mind in Virginia. I'm doing well. Glad that you're doing well. And I want to begin by asking you about your little piece of Virginia, what it's like. What cities and towns does HD 48 cover?
Well, District 48 includes the entire city of Martinsville. As you said, I was born and raised there. Also, it includes most of Henry County. I have the lion's share of that, although it's shared with one other candidate in District 47. And then I have most of Pittsylvania County, but that is also shared with 49 and 51. 51 has one little precinct. So I don't know how they gerrymandered that, but it was interesting. So.
Well, especially because gerrymandering is in the news. It's always good to keep your eye to see what they might be doing to the various districts.
Well, it's very in now, but they really handled us well because we used to be primarily Democratic, and we had great leaders like Ward Armstrong and Roscoe Reynolds. And as soon as they did their little nip and tuck, we became red.
And I'm curious, out in this area, your favorite businesses, your favorite hangouts, favorite recreation places, organizations, and whatnot in the HD48 area. What are those?
Well, there are plenty, and we have a whole lot of great walking trails, which I definitely enjoy. And but we also have a few really nice restaurants. We have the Third Bay Cafe in Druid Hills. El Palmar is really one of the better Mexican restaurants, but I do frequent quite a few of those. We have a great little coffee shop called the Ground Floor in Uptown Martinsville. Um, and we also have two world-class museums, one of which I was, I worked for over 25 years at Virginia Museum of Natural History. And that is a state museum. It's not a Martinsville museum. Also, we have Piedmont Arts, which, covers the fine arts, music, theater. Recently, I went to Chatham, and I was really impressed with how they've upgraded that little area. It's really a pretty little town with lots of restaurants and shops and a great coffee shop there, too. I've been to Gretna. I've been canvassing a lot in all the areas. I've been saving Martinsville. I'm going to really jump on that next. So there's lots of things to do in our area.
And of course, I happen to be a rather strong NASCAR fan.
So forgot to mention that.
I know about the greatness that is Martinsville Speedway.
It's something that we're really proud of and really brings in a lot of people and so helps our economy. It's something that I really not want to do without. Thank you for mentioning.
You ever been out to a race?
I have. And I've been to concerts there.
I did not know they did concerts. It does seem like it would be a pretty cool place. Of course, The first things that came to mind when Martinsville is the hot dogs, the grandfather clocks, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think the business that created those clocks is closed.
Ridgeway clocks. And they always give one of those clocks to the winner. I don't know if they still do. I'm not familiar if that's still doing it.
I think they would still. It's just I had heard, I can't confirm because I did not look it up, that I had heard that business actually closed or something like that. So hopefully
most likely
could be.
I'll do my research next time on that.
Now, for campaigning, how has been your past week of it? What have you seen?
Well, I made a trek to Richmond this past week because a group of my friends, I lived in Richmond for over a decade. I went to Virginia Commonwealth University. I'm a total Virginia girl, born and raised in this area, stayed as a state college, VCU, and became a state employee back home. So in Richmond, I made a whole lot of really good friends, and they decided they were going to do a fundraiser for me. So I went up, and it was at a great place called Reveler, and it was just an interesting venue. Really enjoyed it. And I got to see friends that I haven't seen in decades, and they were very generous. We had a comedian, which was a great touch. Her name was Lucy. Also a featured speaker. Her name was Penny Page, and she's a local Henrico and Richmond area activist who's involved in helping with the unhoused and people who are involved in violent interactions with their partners. So, I mean, we took in a good amount of money. And if you see the signs behind here, I also picked up a bunch of signs that I'm going to be distributing soon. I'm doing a lot of canvassing, and we're going to get heavy into phone banking soon.
That's good. Yeah. That's good. I mean, I also understand that you ran a bit of a last minute campaign for the same seat last time. Now you have much more time to be able to campaign. How do you know what's different this time? How do you know what is possibly in your favor this time?
Well, having 48 hours heads up and meeting a deadline within 2 hours, which I'm used to meeting deadlines as a graphic designer. I've also worked in marketing in Richmond. I've also worked on the newspaper. So I know deadlines and I will meet those deadlines. And I did it. But 3 weeks is not a lot of time to, I didn't know what I was doing. I got a lot of help. The man that asked me to run is Dr. Fergie Reed Jr. And I don't know if you know, his father was one of the first Black men to run after Restoration and garner a seat in the House of Delegates. And he ran many sessions that way. Well, he was a civil rights icon back in the 60s. And when Dr. Reed II asked me to run, I mean, he gave me 10 minutes, a spiel for 10 minutes. And when he said civil rights icon, I said, well, how can I say no to that? So that's why I went ahead with 3 weeks. I said, 3 weeks, I can do without Christmas, New Year's. I can do this. Well, he told me, Dr. Reed said, well, you won't have to do anything. Well, that was incorrect. But having more than 3 weeks to prepare for a campaign, this has been delightful. And I've met a lot of other Democrats statewide. It's just been an educational experience and enlightening, and it's been wonderful. And I've been to a lot of events, getting to know other people in the district. I feel a whole lot better this time. Let's put it that way.
Especially now, because I think you can feel how much more momentum is in the Democrat side this year. Because
Absolutely.
as you may mention, that they're running a person in all 100 districts.
And that is partially due to Dr. Reed's push. He has, really been on top of it, and it's in his father's name that he's doing this. So it's what needs to be done. He could see what was happening in 2023 when he called me. He could see the blowback that was going to occur. I didn't have any idea, because at that time, I didn't think Trump was going to win again.
I didn't either.
No.
And I think having him back in office has created such a shock that is probably really going to grow a pretty big blue momentum this upcoming November, which should be great news for yourself.
I certainly hope so.
Now, if you don't mind, let's get a little bit more into politics. I just had on Delegate Sam Russell out of Roanoke. He's a Democrat I'm a big fan of, and I asked him about being in the news regarding his views on Gaza. What are your thoughts on the comments he has been saying for many a while now, and sort of the controversy that is generated from it, and the whole situation that he's talking about? What are your thoughts on those?
Well, first off, I, like so many others, I am a huge fan of Delegate Sam Russell, and he's one of the first people that I met when I was going on the road, and he's just so full of grace. I think he's an American hero. What he's had to withstand, properly representing his district and doing extra things for people in need. He's just amazing. And why wouldn't he, as a Palestinian also, his homeland, why wouldn't he be upset at what's happening in Palestine and Gaza? And I just think it's one of the most horrible things that I have witnessed in my lifetime. And I just feel like he has the right to stand up and make whatever comments he feels is necessary. And of course, he always does it with grace. I mean, we've got children and innocent civilians, and that's my point that I am willing to make. And let me just say, I'm running for a state legislator, so I won't have probably a lot to do with this position. But I do know without reservation that slaughtering women and children and innocent civilians is a war crime, and it's not something I stand by. I stand with Sam Rasool 100%. And that's pretty much the
And I want
position.
you to know that even though you only see me right here, at least you're not alone in that, that I verbally will join you in that. I wholeheartedly endorse the message you just said, not only just because I had the delegate Rasul on, I personally believe it. So I wanted to make sure that you're not alone here today as you say that. I want to move on next to the idea more of the party, the Democratic Party of Virginia as an idea, not just an organization, but as an idea. It took a hit yesterday because at an Arlington school board meeting where Republican candidate Winsome Sears apparently was speaking, a woman in the Spanberger section who happens to be older and white held up a sign which said, "Hey, Winsome, if trans can't share your bathroom, then blacks can't share my water fountain." And the best metaphor I can use as someone who likes sports a lot is that something like that is an own goal. It's giving Republicans a big movement on messaging the past 24 hours, and Spanberger's already had to disown it twice. What are your thoughts on all of that?
Well, you know what my daughter, who's in her 20s, would say, okay, boomer. I mean, it's way off base. It's not even funny. It's not appropriate. And Spanberger did the right thing to denounce it. And I personally just denounce it as well. I mean, it's unbelievable. A big mistake. I'm hoping that woman comes up and apologizes as well. But on the other hand, let me just say that the Trump administration, we need to leave it to the Trump administration to say those inappropriate things. And they're doing a great job. But I would also like to say there was a point, it was back in March, and it was an NPR article where it was stated that Trump legislated or demanded, you know how he just takes over and poof, it's the law, that that corporations no longer have to have separate facilities for black and white people. And I wonder where was the outrage then? Because I was absolutely outraged at that. I'm not trying to forgive the woman for what she said, but what Trump has been doing has been a lot more severe and ongoing.
Because he's the figurehead of the nation. He represents a significant political party. And as the president, he also recently has done roughshod over the Smithsonian, taken away a lot of things that were for the people, the public of the United States to view and learn from, and then made his own spin on it and added his own opinion that it got too woke because it was trying to teach that slavery was bad for too much.
Here's what.
And like that is the type of thing that makes me think they're trying to have their cake and eat it too by using that as something to swing at the Democrats with when they also have plenty of skeletons in their closet on
Well,
this.
here's what the article said. After a recent change by the Trump administration, the federal government no longer explicitly prohibits contractors from having segregated restaurants, waiting rooms, and drinking fountains. I mean, are we going back to the 50s or what? The supremacy is outrageous. So,
yeah, I hear you on that. And I'm also curious about your thoughts on the purpose, the why that you are running. And I know from your history that you have an activist bend to you, starting from your issues section on your website, which, if you give me a second here, I am going to hit the button to share it on the screen. And of course, provide the couple of links in the comments sections for those watching for Melody. Make sure to all look at all those SchezzWho viewers. Mostly the fact that Democrats are likely to hold power or strengthen their power in the legislature as we gain the large statewide seats. So your first issues section premise is that your voice for HD 48 will actually be useful in the legislature. So can you touch on that?
Well, I wanted to go back about the activism. When Dr. Reed was searching for someone to run, he put in 2 words, woman and activist. And my face popped up, but no name. So he had to track me down. And I have been very active in going against slum landlords, vacant and empty and dilapidated buildings in the entire area of District 48, along with a whole scope of other issues that I have kept on people. But now to your other question, what was it again? What do you think I can do in the legislature? Well, number one,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be, by all stats, the Democrats are going to be in the majority, and the Republicans are going to be in the minority. And so what happened just this last session with Delegate Phillips, who's our District 48 representative now, he was unable to pass many bills at all. If you go on VPAP and look it up, a lot of them are fail. And that's true with Ren Williams in District 47. They were together at a get together for the Chamber of Commerce, where they come and talk about what they've been able to do in the legislature. And they both had to step up and sheepishly say, we didn't get much done because the Democrats are in power. Well, that's going to happen again. So my speech to a lot of people is, how are you going to vote? By party lines, or with someone who will be in the majority and actually get some legislations done that's much needed for our area?
Does follow. That makes sense.
Yep.
Now, I like Eddie C. with Freedom Virginia because it's a progressive organization, but it uses the right vernacular, the ones that the right likes to use regarding freedom and liberty. So it isn't just thought of as if only Republicans like freedom and liberty. So your first issue regards reproductive freedom. Would you like to speak on that?
Well, that's a big one. You know, I was in high school and college in the 70s, and we had our reproductive freedom, and it worked well. And I have a daughter who would like the same freedom that I enjoyed, and it's not happening now. So that is one of the 3 amendments that are up for the state of Virginia, the Commonwealth. And I just want to point out that reproductive freedom is not just about abortion. It's really a small part of it. We want to have the freedom to have contraception, so we don't have to go that route. And the people that have miscarriages, we want the right to appropriate medical attention immediately, and not to cause the mother to also be in danger. And also the late term situation that everyone likes to bring up, and it's so ridiculous. It's not the truth. When a couple comes together to determine that they're going to have a family, and for whatever reason that baby doesn't come to full term, and it's no longer going to survive, then you have to know that that couple has made provisions for that baby, set aside a room, decided what name to name that baby. Ending the life of a non-viable fetus is not what some people paint it as. It's a very sad situation, and we want to make our decisions between the parents and the physician.
Now, you're also quite proud of saying you're not only Christian, but you're pro-gun rights. If you will, wrap that into how you identify as a Democrat. And I typically associate the church and guns with Republican circles. So how do you present it?
Well, I am proud to be a Christian, and I was baptized with my parents in Uptown Methodist Church. Proud to be a Methodist. Um, and there's a real bias in the journalistic people in my area, the newspapers, because when I send in my information and I say that I'm a Christian, oh, and by the way, I'm concealed carry, I have a current concealed carry license, that is deleted from my information, but it's a big rainbow for the other guy. Like it's this traditional family values, Second Amendment rights, and I'm a Christian and I'm a businessman, and that's pretty much it for the guy. So I did determine to be a concealed carry license owner, and it was one of the best things that I've ever done, because I've had several issues, and we can go on about that in another time. But I've
Yeah, we'll
had
join
gun
you on that.
violence in my neighborhood, and it's a good thing to learn safety, how to handle a gun, and be educated on the law. And a lot of
Mhm.
people in this area don't understand when they can and cannot use that gun.
I would join you in the unfortunate group of having gun violence on your street before. So, yeah, when you come back one day to specifically talk about that, I'll join you in my own experiences there as well. I want to move on now to restorative justice. And what is your take on restorative justice, and what Virginians should expect on that front with you in a new Democratic legislature?
Well, I'm going to vote for all three amendments. They are just common sense, and they relate to human beings. And I believe if someone's been incarcerated and they've spent their time, there should, and they meet all the regulations that is required, then they should have their rights restored automatically. And there should no longer be one man in charge that puts down a roadblock, because we all know that Governor Youngkin has allowed few and far between. I don't even know how many he's allowed. I don't even know if he has allowed any, but I'm sure there are exceptions. But we don't want that to happen again. So we want people to have the right to vote, period. Yes, sir.
I second that. Are you strong on moving to get rid of Virginia's right to work? I think you are.
Oh,
Now, we both project the legislature to get much more Democrat in November, and likely Spanberger and Hashmi and Jay Jones are going to be victorious too, which leads to the executive branch also swaying over to the Democrat side. But I can't but point out Spanberger is recently on record only signaling she wants to tinker and reform right to work without removing it entirely. So, what's your take, and what's the real deal here?
well, of course, I'm not privy to the real deal, but I have heard that information, and she was not endorsed by the union. On the other hand, I was, and I'm very much going to stick to that. I very much believe in unions. I very much believe that we should totally repeal the right to work, which is so badly named. It actually means you don't have any rights when you work. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. They just take the pablum of, oh, if we have unions, everything's going to cost more money. But hey, I'm for raising the minimum wage as well. And Delegate Phillips is not. So it's very clear the choice that the voters can make. We are pretty much opposite ends of the spectrum, except I'm a Christian and I'm a gun owner.
Yeah, I always remember having those debates with people who were like, we can't raise the minimum wage. It's just going to make prices on things go up and food prices go up. And I'm like, so we never did it, yet we still get higher prices and higher consumer good
How did
prices
that
and
work
more.
for
So
them? Not too well.
intriguing.
Not too well.
So I would lean into supporting your ideals there. Now, Trump and the Republicans actively sought to eliminate the Department of Education, and
Mm.
then they did. And now funding is going to be butchered as less trickle down to Virginia for education. So, do you want to be part of the group that can help stop this in Virginia and strengthen public education?
Well, it's pretty obvious no one read Project 2025, or a lot of people didn't. I'm hoping the educators did, but I bet they're aware of what it said now. For the few who didn't read, uh, we need to stand firm for public education, and that's another thing that Phillips has said in a recent Cardinal News voting. Did you read the voting issue where each candidate spoke about what they believed in?
I don't think I've done that just yet. I shall look that up after this.
It's a good thing to do because I have a sneaking position. I have a sneaky idea that he's a vouchers guy, but I don't think he ever said that. But he did say he was against putting into legislation for our area. I think it's a 1% sales tax, which would help our education system, which Henry County did approve, but Martinsville did not. And I'm a big, strong one of that. I come from a family of educators. My mother and my father were educators. My brothers were educators. My daughter now is a teacher in Danville City Schools. So she's, out of the district, but she's a big supporter. So I'm going to fight as hard as I can to be creative, or whatever we have to do to keep supporting our public school systems. And that includes Head Start and all the programs, Boys and Girls Club, which our delegate Phillips is the chairman for the Boys and Girls Club. Cat alert. And so they are thinking about taking that out. So I'm wondering what people are going to think about that. It's not going to be good.
Especially in this trying time when education never lost its importance, but it seems to lose support from a lot of people who are in government positions who control the funding. So it's good to know
Well,
that.
they started defunding education back with Reagan.
Mhm.
And they are definitely underfunded from way back when. And now it's going to be a real challenge. Very, very concerned.
And it's quite ironic that the cat has jumped on the laptop and is now nuzzling up on me as I ask this next question, because one of the more heartbreaking parts, signifying our continued economic woes, deepening under Trump, of course, is the decline in people seeking pet adoption and the rise of people returning the pets that they have adopted back to the adoption centers. Costs are too high in other areas of the economy that they need to keep more money close to the chest. And pets are increasingly seen as a luxury. So, how do you want to tackle the costs Virginians face on big ticket items like housing, healthcare, energy, and beyond, bringing them down so we have a greater ability to love on our pets like this?
I have, my moniker is Meow Mel. So I've always loved cats, and I had a big Newfoundland dog that I loved. I mean, I love our animals, but I have noticed a lot more animals being released and abandoned. I've got a gray cat that has been abandoned twice, and I know this because there's records on it. So, yes, it's really sad for the pets, but guess what? The humans, there's going to be a lot more homelessness. I know people like to say unhoused, but to me, that's sort of, it's not to the point when people are homeless and you see people on the street with no shelter. We've been working on trying to get a full-time shelter in Martinsville, in the Martinsville area, for many years. Right now, we only have a warming center, and we only open that when it's very, very cold, I think under 30 degrees. I feel with what's going to happen due to the big, beautiful bill, things are going to get a lot worse, and there's going to be a lot more people losing their homes. And we need more advocates and activists to fight that. As far as utilities, I'm not the candidate that's going to take any utility money. And I feel like that raises the cost of electricity. And I know someone that I'm running against that took some of that money, but yet posted a letter saying, we want our bills not to go up. Well, he's not really doing what he needs to do to keep that from happening.
Yeah, anytime I look at VPAP and I look over to Dominion Energy and I see the millions of dollars that is spent effectively on lobbying by donating to political campaigns, I'm like, what if they were, not giving it all their money and they could close their cost if they consider that a cost?
We need
and make it cheaper for us.
Campaign finance reform. But, the Democrats are often just as guilty. They love playing the money game.
I hear you on that. Money has definitely interceded into corruptive effects on both parties. Very,
Agreed.
very correct on that. Now, let's assume now I headed out to one of those Martinsville races, and I hadn't heard about this race. And then I settled in the district, and I registered to vote, but I didn't know anything about that district. And you knocked on my door in canvassing. What would be your pitch to me as to why I should vote for you this November?
Are you already registered?
Well, I am, but it's just
I'm talking about if
Mm-hmm.
you're new to the area, I'm going to ask you first, have you registered? Do you usually vote? Because if you're new to the area, you probably won't be on my van list, which is, and I might not even come to knock on your door, actually. Because maybe maybe I will, because the last people were on the van list. It's not a perfect list.
Okay.
So I would come up to you and I would let you know that I'm running for the House of Delegates, and I maybe wouldn't necessarily tell you what party I'm in. I'd just be tapping at you, getting some information. Have you registered? Do you know where you vote? Do you know where the deadlines are? I like to be proactive like that. And then I go in to talk about who the up ballot people who are running. And then I will, put my name in there and give them some information that I'll be handing out for both of us. And then, I almost always like to ask, what in the state of Virginia is concerning you the most right now? And more often than not, they talk about the cost of living. And then it's often healthcare, and then education. Those are the top three.
And hypothetically, I might mention at the door, I just heard that Medicaid's going to be cut with the allegedly beautiful part of the big destructive bill. And I would then be curious what you would like to do on helping our healthcare costs going forward. And that would be a nice
another thing.
Conversation.
When I mentioned the big beautiful bill, more people understand that. And a lot of people don't even know who Spanberger is in the county. Because these people, a lot of people are just trying to survive, and they're not heavy into politics. And that's why going door to door, we get the chance to interact and let them know who's running, give them some pamphlet, have something to refer to. It's been overall a really great experience, except for the big dogs that are unleashed.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that with these nice cats at the door. They'll probably just go away from the door. But those dogs.
Woo! Big dog.
Well, what I'm going to do now is share up on the screen things that are important for viewers to follow up with you. For instance, the website, melody4va48.com. Let's say they like what they see with Miss Melody, they want to donate, then they head on over to this Act Blue link right here in order to donate to you. If they want to follow your TikToks, got it right here on the screen, your TikTok account. We also have your IG, the Facebook page for you for your Melody for Virginia page, and also for yourself at Meow Melly. And
Really, the Meow Melly, I post more on Meow Melly, my personal, than I do. I try to flip it back and forth. So sign up for Meow Melly, which just sign up, just do a search for Melody Cartwright.
And that'll definitely
Yeah.
Pay off. We also got twitter.com/Meow Melly, or the X right here for Mel for HD 48. And I think that's the last of the links that I have for you, for viewers of SchezzWho, to learn more about you, especially as they get ready to vote, because I think we're less than a month now for when early voting starts.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And I got to get my signs up. So anybody want to sign, please contact me through the website, or shoot me an email at melodyforvirginia@yahoo.com. Not the 48, melodyforvirginia@yahoo.com.
All right. You heard that, melodyforvirginia@yahoo.com. And I want to thank you, Miss Melody, for coming on SchezzWho today, just to talk a little bit about politics in your area, Virginia, why you're running and all that. And personally, I hope that you have a great Friday night and a great weekend.
It's been a real pleasure. And may I end it with the thing that I said out of the top of a car in the Fieldale Parade. I got to be interviewed by a local cable TV show, and I said, I don't like the big, beautiful bill. It's going to be worse than NAFTA.
Ooh, strong words.
Well,
but we need more individuals willing to make those strong opinions in the legislature, I would say. So viewers, look towards Miss Melody in that area, the 48th of Virginia. Once again, thank you for coming on. I'll catch you next time.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Well, this has been another great SchezzWho episode. And as this grows, we're just going to need more likes, more views, more comments from you on these videos. And of course, subscribe to the SchezzWho channel. That way the political content can keep flowing and flowing and flowing. And I hope you also have a great Friday night. Catch you next time.